Hello and welcome to the OXM report. I recently went to Arcane Studios to see their new game, Dishonored. It's from some of the people behind the original Deus Ex and Half-Life 2, and I spoke to the co-creator and founder of Arcane Studios, Rafael Colantonio, about what it is about.
Okay, so we describe it as a game set in old Europe with a retro future layer. So there is a little bit of steampunk in there. It started as inspired by England in like 1600s. You start as the bodyguard of the Empress in this world, and there's a murder. She's being murdered in front of you. You are accused for her murder and thrown in jail. And at this point, everything turns bad for you. So your objective is to escape and either get revenge or set things right. Either way, it will be your choice of how you want to deal with that.
And does this tie in with the system you're talking about, the revenge or putting things right? Is that tied into the chaos system you're talking about, that's the kind of replacement for good and evil?
Right, so you work with a group of people that ask you to do things for them so that to restore the political regime for them. And so they send you to kill these different targets, but it's up to you if you really want to do that in a more chaotic way, meaning like, you might have to play as a butcher and kill everybody, including the innocent people, or if you want to be more surgical and more like an elegant sneaker and do the things the right way, and in fact not even have to necessarily kill the targets. You can actually just like eliminate them in a more in the general sense, which means that sometimes it's negotiating with them, sometimes it's like doing other things so that they are out of the picture without necessarily being killed. We don't want to bring judgment to the way the player plays, right? So some people feel good about being just fast and furious. Some others want to talk to people around them and do things in a little different way. So for us, we call it chaos, because at the end of the day, the more you put chaos into the world, the more disturbed it becomes, and then there are outcomes. Like some of them are gameplay outcomes, like there are more rats in the world. Some of them are moral outcomes, like this person survives or he doesn't. Some of them are more like a mission changes its setup.
In the presentation, you mentioned that the different ways you can sort of kill people are layered on top of each other, sometimes sloppily, and I quite enjoyed that. So can you just explain how a few of the ways that the powers can be combined and how they weren't probably anticipated by yourselves?
Yes, so that's something that happens to us all the time, because we tend to design our systems in a logical way outside of the context of the other systems. And then when we add systems, they also have their own rules, and sometimes it collides with the rules of the other system. And by colliding, I mean like it creates some really interesting effects. So, for example, that's a small example, but it's interesting because it triggered a war. We had the blink system, which is that this power that makes you go from where you are to a destination very fast, and then but it's limited in distance. And then we also have jump, and then we had the super jump, which allows you to jump farther. And so, of course, what happened was that quickly one of the testers found out that you could actually double jump and then like blink, and doing that you would actually travel quite a substantial distance in the maps and potentially break things from a level design standpoint. So, but yeah, we said like that's cool, let's keep it. And so we then had to adapt the environment to make sure that even if that happened, it's okay. And you know what? Sometimes we can't plan for everything, so the players, I bet, will be able to go into areas and take advantage of that, which is great. We want that.
I think my favourite one, and correct me if I get this one wrong, because it was quite a complicated one, was where you summoned a bunch of rats, froze time, put a spring-loaded trap on the back of a rat, and then possessed the rat and moved it kind of a little radio-controlled mine.
Right.
That's who thought of that?
That's a programmer. That's more for elegance and fun. That I mean, it can be useful, to be honest, because like that could be a strategy where you eject before the mine explode, and you know, you might get an achievement for doing something silly like that. But it's just an interesting illustration of what we meant by being able to, you know, just like combine and layer all the system on top of each other, like without cheating. I mean, it's just simulation. So if you think about it as a player, it might just work.
And if you want to know more about Dishonored, buy this issue of OXM.